Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. We are back in Houston, Texas. Yes, we are back from New Orleans. We are back from Netroots Nation. And you know what, folks? We had a great time. It was one of the better Netroots Nation better Netroots Nations of all time. I tell you what, I went out there to do a job. And that job that I went out there to do was to talk to as many activists, as many politicians as I could, specifically progressive politicians. And guess what? That is exactly what I did. It turned out great. Hey, I lost complete count of the amount of folks that I actually interviewed. And you know, I spent all day yesterday and today downloading all these different interviews that I did with these folks that attended Netroots. So I'll tell you, there's one interesting thing. This was one of the most, if I may say myself, and I've been to just about all of them, one of the most grassroots Netroots Nation. For those of you who don't know what Netroots Nation is the gathering of the most it's the largest progressive gathering in the country, where we go ahead and we pull in bloggers and politicians and all of that from all over the country. And again, that is where we sit down and discuss policy. We sit down and discuss a whole lot of these things. And I tell you, the attendance of it was the one that was most attended, they said, when they did all their calculations ever. So there's something happening at least in the activist community, and it is something that we have to make sure and put out. But before I get started, I want to remind everybody that what is the thing that I ask everybody to do as soon as they get to the show? Share. We need you to go ahead and share these things so that other people would see it. We haven't been on for a while, so I imagine some people wondered, hey, is Politics Done Right off the air? Well, we haven't been on as Politics Done Right, a 1-hour program, but we were on all day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, giving you interviews over and over again. I hope some of you saw those interviews. I hope you liked the interviews, because I tell you what, our handler was sending folks there over and over again, and we really enjoyed talking to people. We really enjoyed learning from a whole lot of folks. It is just something that if you are a progressive activist, if you're a progressive person, period, if you are somebody that's looking for truth, if you're somebody that wants to go out there, this was the place to be. I must tell you, folks, I had such fun, both during the event and after the event. Okay, if you're just joining us, folks, this is Politics Done Right, the progressive program, and I am asking you to go ahead and share this on your wall, share this on your page, share this everywhere right now to ensure that folks are going to see this. We have a very good blog of the week. It covers a conversation that I had with somebody, a young person, and it sort of details a pathology that we are going to have to work against or work with, because, folks, we are really in a dangerous world, and unless it is mitigated, the morass that the country is currently in will continue. The morass will continue. So what is the show about today? Before I go, share the program on your wall, please. What is the show going to be about? It's going to be about a little update on Daily Coast. Let me first tell you, the first day that I got there, I did a whole lot of packing of those bags that the grab bags that we give to people. We have some videos of us doing those grab bag packing and making sure people had a whole lot of good stuff. And inside of that grab bag, we also had spices. But secondly, after we had our meet and greet with the Daily Coast, as you know, Netroots Nation started with the Daily Coast, which is the most progressive website, the most progressive blog site in the country, where you can get, to put it bluntly, you can get all your news from that site. All the news that matters you can get from dailycoast.com, DAILYKOS.com. You should try that out as well, dailycoast.com. You can get all your news there. We cover just about everything, and I'm one of their contributing editors as well. Most of my work gets there either on the front page on Sundays or throughout the pages throughout the week. Pretty good place to get some information from. But anyhow, the second day is when it all starts. I got out there on Wednesday and helped the folks pack bags and help the folks put things up. And then, of course, we set up the Politics Done Right banners and all that kind of stuff. If you want to see some of that, just go to our website, and you can see all the setup that we've done, or go to our Twitter or Tumblr or our Facebook page, and we have all of that put together. I got to interview on the first day several people, but the second day was quite interesting. I actually interviewed the woman that's going to be running for governor of New York against Andrew Cuomo. Her name is Cynthia Nixon. If you remember Cynthia Nixon, she was the star, one of the stars on Sex and the City. Now she's running against Cuomo. And you know what? After you listen to her interview, which I'm going to play next, I think I'm going to play it next. I didn't cue it up yet. But after you listen to that interview, I think you should kind of notice something. This woman seemed to have done her homework. And I was, while interviewing her, that she was on such good point. In other words, that she didn't skip a beat with the questions that I was asking, albeit, I mean, they weren't difficult questions, but what governors have real difficult questions that one asks, you know? I mean, and I don't mean to be simplistic or silly about it, but the reality about it is we know where a lot of the work gets done. So anyhow, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and cue this up. I think I just got it queued up. Let's see if I got it. I think I got it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play that interview that I did with Cynthia Nixon, because I think it's indicative of why she stands a chance of being there. You know, some of the people at Daily Coast is like, oh, she doesn't have a chance to win. But anyhow, folks, do remember, this is a call-in show as well. You can give me a call at 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. But what I want you to do right now is listen to this. Let me get the voices off, but listen to this interview. Welcome to Politics Done Right with Egberto Willies. We're here with Cynthia Nixon, who is running for governor of New York. Who would have thunk it? Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
First of all, let me tell you how happy we are that you did what you did, because we think the party needs to be brought into the light of where the people really are. And from all that I've read about you so far, that's what you represent. What are you going to do for New York?
We are going to fix the New York City subway that has been so woefully underfunded. We delays have tripled under Andrew Cuomo. We have the worst on-time transit record of any subway system in the entire world. And if we wait any longer, it's only going to get harder and more expensive to fix. I want to fully fund schools. Our schools are owed $4.2 billion from the state. This is an issue I've been fighting on for 17 years. I want to end cash bail in New York State. 70% of the people sitting in New York's jails on any given day are there because they can't afford bail. We have one system of justice for people like Harvey Weinstein and another for a teenager like Khalif Browder, who was accused of stealing a backpack and didn't have $3,000, and he was incarcerated at Rikers for 3 years.
Why wasn't all of this done before under a previous Democratic governor? Why not?
Well, because Andrew Cuomo is a governor who campaigns as a Democrat, but he governs as a Republican. He is not a progressive at all, and his history so far as governor has really been to incentivize Democratic senators to actually go over and vote with the Republicans to block progressive legislation, which is why we haven't done voting reform or campaign finance reform or passed the New York Dream Act or passed single-payer health care. We haven't even really been fighting for it.
I was about to ask about that, but isn't it true that in as much as you guys are a Democratic state and in as much as people have elected Democrats, that somehow in your Congress, Republicans rule?
Republicans rule really for the last 8 years because of Andrew Cuomo. He allowed them to gerrymander their own districts.
Exactly. So that is something I trust that will be fixed under this. Now, we have to wrap up here. Just tell me a little bit about your stance on single-payer healthcare.
We are the wealthiest country in the world. We are the only one that doesn't have a single-payer system. We pay more for our health care than any other nation, and we have the worst health care of any other industrialized nation. We've got 1 million New Yorkers who are uninsured and so many more that are underinsured. There are so many people across New York State who are one diagnosis or one accident away from bankruptcy. With single payer, we can insure all of our people, including our undocumented people. We can do it better, we can do it cheaper with no co-pays and no deductibles at a tremendous savings to the state, to individuals, to employers, and it's a tremendous job creator, both in terms of the expansion of healthcare that would happen because so many more people would be able to seek preventative and also restorative treatment. And it's also a tremendous job creator because it's a tremendous savings for employers who would no longer be responsible for providing health care and could hire more workers.
Cynthia Nixon, the next governor of New York State. Cynthia, please keep up the good works. I've been following you and we'll continue to follow you.
Thank you
Have a
so
wonderful
much.
day.
You
Thank
too.
so kindly.
Thanks. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Welcome to Politics. Now, that was Cynthia Nixon, and she hasn't won anything yet, but it is pretty clear that based on in speaking to a whole lot of people out there, things are really happening. Let me tell you, it's as it turns out, I also interviewed another woman from Kansas, good old red Kansas, home of Governor Brownback, and believe it or not, this woman run a completely progressive campaign, and she won herself a local position. She came to Netroots to explain how it's done, how she did it, which was again, that was a great thing to see these types of things happen. So, look, folks, one of the reasons I played that is to show you that the progressive side of the equation is really concentrating on getting things done. It is really concentrating on saying, we are really going to make a difference this time. And by gosh, I think they're serious. And based on everybody that I interviewed, based on everybody that I spoke to, I think the activist base is ready. And hear me out good. The activist base is ready. The question continues, and the real question is whether the activist base would speak to more than the choir and go out there and bring folks in order to win the whole damn thing. And to be truthful, I think we can. We probably haven't quite made the case yet, but I'm pretty sure we can. So what is today's program about? Today's program titled Netroots Nation 2018 Update and the Pathology Afflicting the Right Wing. And I really want you to listen to this part that I'm calling instead about the pathology that affects the right wing, because this stuff is very, very serious. Anyhow, what I want to talk about now is here we go. Netroots Nation 2018 was yet another great experience. It is clear that progressive activists are ready, but is the country ready? Secondly, I will discuss a pathology that can afflict any ideology. Sadly, while being adjudicated, many could not only get hurt but lose their future in the process. For the youth that is starting to buy into the tenets of the right, many are throwing away potential financial and social success for adherence to a failed ideology. How do we solve that? We are going to have to talk to these people. We're going to have to talk to these people. So, folks, I think it's probably about that time. It's probably about that time to have the blog of the week. And after the blog of the week, I'd love to have phone calls. Remember, that number is 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. If you're just joining us, please go ahead and share this program on your page, on your Twitter, on your Tumblr, everywhere else, so that we can build this mass of people listening to this message. But folks, do you know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Okay, the title of the blog post, as I bring it up on my phone, given that my pad, the battery is completely out, and good old me forgot to charge it. But anyhow, that doesn't really matter because I have you and I have this little phone with the blog of the week. Anyhow, guess what the blog of the week is reminding me of now? My product is quarantined. In other words, this blog of the week is not available until guess when? It's not available until tomorrow, which means I have to find another way to get to it. So bear with me as I go ahead and find that new way to get to that program so that I can read you the blog of the week. And here it goes. I think I can, but I think I can, and I just did. Here we go. Something more profound is happening to the right wing, and it's not Fox News. Remember that. Something more profound is happening to the right wing, and it's not Fox News. Here it goes. I had a shocking discussion with a young man. He was either 19 or 20. The disconcerting portion is that the young man is brilliant, but had taken in a terrifying right-wing narrative that will not only endanger the country, but create a permanent underclass relegated to indentured servitude. And I don't say that lightly. The right, for the young people that are following the right and are believing all the things that they're saying on the right, many of the issues that they're talking about will relegate them, and this is not a conjecture, but it will relegate them to permanent indentured servitude because it'll keep them completely unprepared for the type of economy that will be forthcoming. But here it goes. If progressives do not find a method and narrative to reach the newly indoctrinated by a corrosive ideology, the demise of our path to an egalitarian society is doomed. I was sitting in Starbucks, my blogging spot, when a young man came and sat next to me. Over the last few weeks, he displayed an interest in appearing on Politics Done Right to discuss his conservative point of view. I really do. I love entertaining. I love entertaining different points of view. I love to sit down and have folks talk. But I usually want them to be consistent in what they're talking about. Anyhow, conservatism isn't inherently wrong. Remember that. Conservatism isn't inherently wrong. It is a matter whether we want to be constrained by the rules of any given ideology. If you want small government and are willing to live in a country where we, the people, render control to the owners of capital, then it is not wrong or right, but simply your preference. Inconsistent positioning, however, is untenable. Worse, however, is when one builds their position on lies. They fell for via specific methods of indoctrination, and that is what we have to be careful of. When you fall for lies, and then your indoctrination is based on lies, that is some of the most dangerous. That is what create those killers. That is what create all these crazy people. That is what does that. Folks, if you're just joining us, please do remember to share this program. Let's make sure that other people are able to get the progressive message. And please remember to support progressive programming. Anyhow, two scary narratives came out in our discussion. The first is that a high school diploma became worthless not because the new technology requires a better trained workforce, but because too many people had it, which made it useless. He fell for the trick of applying supply and demand to every aspect of life. In fact, he said that when people had less education than a high school diploma more valuable, it made a high school diploma more valuable. Think about that again. Think about what I just said he said. He said, and I want to make it right. I want to say it right. He said that a diploma became less valuable. A high school diploma became less valuable. because. I mean, even repeating it gives me pause. Anyway, the young man is I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. So I'm going to repeat that. Conservatism isn't inherently wrong. It is a matter of whether you believe it or not. But what he's had to say was completely wrong. The young man is a very hard worker. There's no doubt about that. The man does not realize that his ideological position relegates him to permanent servitude. He doesn't see it. He really, really does not see it. All right? In fact, he said that when people had less education, then a high school diploma was more, if people had less education, a high school diploma would be more valuable. In other words, make people more dumb. And then for those who get a high school diploma, hey, that high school diploma is suddenly worth more. The sad part about that argument is that it is partly correct, but wrong-headed. An economy based on unneeded or false scarcity is at best inefficient and at best immoral, paying farmers not to grow. Government buying overage of cheese, milk, and other products. All of that is wrong. You're creating false scarcity to keep a false economy afloat. Think about that, folks. It is clear that the right, with its policies, is seeking a less educated populace. They likely figure they can control the uneducated more easily as automation, robotics make many jobs irrelevant to humans. So make them dumb. Make people dumb because we really don't need them. And if you make them dumb and you don't need them, you don't have to pay them. And they don't know that the problem is the system and not them. You see, that is what we've done to our people. That is what we've done. We're teaching them that they don't matter. But we're not telling them they don't matter. We are implicitly, they are knowing that implicitly. Folks, let's get with the program. Let's not hate on the misinformed. Let's try to inform them. Share these types of programs with them. Share this information with them, because that is what's going to make the difference. Okay? That is what's going to make the difference. Look, the part of the pathology that got to me was the second part of our dialogue. And this one here, I think it's going to drive you crazy. But this is what he said. He was very anti-government, desiring that the private sector control mostly everything. I asked him what he thought about oil companies making profits on a substance they did not create. Shouldn't the Treasury be the beneficiary of most of the gains after they extract the oil? He said no. Okay. I explained that the Treasury getting the excess profits would be for the gain of we the people. He said, she who extract it owns it. Listen to what he said. He said, no, Egberto. If I extract it, I own it. Wait a minute. That's not true, right? Because if you're living in a place where you don't own the mineral rights and you extract it, you don't own it. The guy who owns that property owns it. That's how it works. The guy who owns that property owns it. So he's inconsistent, because the oil on government property, the excess profits doesn't go to the owner of that property. It goes to the government. It goes to the private company. Inconsistent. Inconsistent. Let the government remove the oil in that. Okay, after that I said, all right, I disagreed, but offered a proffer. Let the government remove the oil in that way. Under his tenet, we the people own the oil, and all the profits would go to the Treasury to make the lives of all, not a few, better. I made him think, but he was not convinced. I left the conversation that I wanted him to answer, not right then, but when he went home and slept on it. If he believes he who extracts owns the resource and only those with substantial capital can do so, but the government, we the people, could not do the same, why is that a problem? Isn't he given those the inherent right to pilfer us all? Isn't that what he's doing? The young man did not have a satisfactory answer then, but promised he would return with an answer. I cannot wait for his response. This young man did not learn what we discussed from Fox News. He called out several right-wingers he listens to, some I never heard of at all. But they are indoctrinating an audience. It takes a lot of work and patience to talk to these guys, but ultimately, it's the only solution in our repertoire. Folks, after I spoke to that guy, it's not only that I felt sorry for the young man. It's not only that I felt sorry for the young man. It's that I wondered how many of this kind of a guy exists throughout the country. All right? In other words, he's not alone. If I am talking to him in a place like this, there are hundreds of thousands that are getting that message. There are hundreds of thousands that are being programmed that way. They tell, there's this other thing. Don't worry about the other person's wealth. Worry about what you can make on your own. They like to say that. Stop. I don't care if that guy is getting a whole lot of money. I don't care if he's getting a bigger cut. Don't worry about that. Worry about yourself. Worry about what you are going to do to make it better for you. Not realizing that that guy who is making all that money, it's not that he's doing it in a vacuum. All that money or all that wealth that he's accumulating didn't just come out of the air. Didn't come out that he's great. Didn't come out that he could manufacture anything. Or didn't come out that he's smart. He didn't get that money because of any of those things. In the aggregate. There are some people that are smart. I'm not going to doubt that. But many of these folks who are getting wealthy are doing it on the backs of these young people who have been taught to just accept what's given to them. Not to realize that there's a systemic issue in this country that prevents them from being all they can, from moving ahead, and all these issues all at once. Folks, if we can only get that, we'll be doing fine. If we can only get that, then we can make the case. So what are progressives to do? And those are the things that we discussed at Netroots Nation 2018. Folks, if you're just joining us, please go ahead and share this program on your wall. Please share this program on your page. And by the way, it is so important to do so because Facebook has yet again changed the algorithm that further affects, again, programs like this, who shares with automated programming to ensure that they get maximum performance. So we almost depend on many folks going out there when they get their notification and sharing this and say, hey, my friend number one, take a look at what we have here. But before I continue with the program, I want to go ahead and make my first ask. And that is, please do remember this is a progressive program that needs your support. We need your support because this is how we are going. That young man that I spoke about, there are hundreds of millions of dollars that's being invested in small websites, small media companies, small email distributors, and all these things. These guys have thousands of people, including some in Russia, of course, that are out there manufacturing data to give to young men like I described in my blog of the week. There is a small counter argument. Politics Done Right is one. Majority Reports is another. The Young Turks is another. The Daily Kos is another. Underground or Democratic Underground is another. Op-Ed News is another. But there's something we all share in common. We are not funded like these other guys are funded. So we don't have the wherewithal and the reach. I mean, if we had more support, we would have hundreds of Facebook pages and groups with people running them that can go ahead and get our message out to a bunch of different audiences. We would have people volunteering and we'll have a staff that could do that. We don't. And the reason we don't is that the right does that. That description I gave you of that young man. That young man, there was hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars that went into the processes that generated the type of media that calculated that he was receptive to that message. And how do the politics of the world, politics done right of the world, get around that sort of a indoctrination? We just talk and we give them a comfort zone. It's like the young man. He's going to come back and talk. I am going to spend an inordinate amount of time on that young man, and when he's changed, he'll become, in biblical terms, of fishers of men. He will be out there giving the same message that those of you, the progressives that are listening to this station, want emanated from our sphere. And because he would be with a group like himself, he would have some more traction making that change. But we have to get that, provide the bait. We have to find the bait. And the way we do that is to ensure that progressive media is also supported. I mean, it's that simple. We invest in a whole lot. I mean, those of you who invest in cable and all these other cable and all these places where misinformation is at a premium, remember, you're given several $100s a month to be misinformed. Consider supporting progressive medias, the different progressive platforms like I just detailed. Daily Kos, Op-Ed News, Majority Report, Young Turks. All these guys play an important part in not just talking to the choir, but expanding the choir. Politics Done Right. You should have seen. You can see all the interviews we did at Netroots. I'm posting them almost on a several of them a day. Did some great interviews. Look, by the way, this is your show. Politics Done Right is your show. Your show did very well at Netroots Nation. We got recognition like one would not imagine out there for the platform and for what we do, for getting the message out. I was amazed of how many people outside of the Daily Kos. I mean, I expect the people at the Daily Kos to know what Politics Done Right is, but it was amazing how many folks from different companies, different liberal organizations, different progressive organizations just came to the table to say, wanted to meet you in person. Politics Done Right. Love Politics Done Right. I listen to Politics Done Right. You're making a difference. When they say you, they don't mean Egberto is making a difference. They mean Politics Done Right is making a difference. And who is Politics Done Right but you? So, folks, please go ahead and visit patreon.com, patreon.com/Politics Done Right. And let's get up to 100 in the next few days. I want to reach 1,000 by the end of the year. We need to, if we are going to continue to invest in this. I showed you what we invested in to perform at Netroots, and it went flawlessly. Of course, it's all done on credit cards, but it performed flawlessly. Our system, we were able to bring the people, we were able to isolate the very noisy room. It was great. You can take a look at the videos yourself. I'm processing them right now, but that was your doing. Patreon.com/Politics Done Right. We were able to succeed at Netroots Nation 2018 because some of you supported. I'm asking more of you to support. We need hundreds. We need about 2,000 is the calculations that I made. About 2,000 members all together. And, we've given ourselves about a year or so to get there. But folks, we need your support. This is not going to end with the election, because after the election is when the work begins. Whether we win or lose after the election, politics done right is going to be there, because, folks, the fight isn't with Republicans. The fight is with the system. It's not with Republicans. The fight is the system. And that is what we are going to be doing. So, folks, if you're just joining us, please, first of all, share the page. Please share us on your wall. Share us on your Tumblr, on your Twitter, on your Yellow Man. Why do I always forget the Yellow Man? On your Yellow Man, share us and make sure other people are there listening, because that is how we are going to make the change. Patreon.com/politics done right. Okay, folks, the telephone number to call in. So I'm asking you to share to also encourage other people to become members. Are you a member already? Great. Thank you so kindly. By the way, I now have the member sheet up. And you know what I should do as I'm speaking to you? I should give you a link to the sheet. I'm going to put that in the notes. I'm going to give you a link. We have a page now where we thank everybody. Actually, I don't even remember where I put that page. I think I have it. I got to go find it. I don't have it right now, but I have a page where I give thanks to every single individual that have provided support for Politics Done Right. That page is on the website. I'm going to publicize it a bit more, let people know that we have great donors. And for those of you who have already donated, thank you so kindly. Those of you who haven't, I ask that you do, because you know what? We are going nowhere unless it's supported. Look, for those of you who heard this story, forgive me. I repeat it again because there are a lot of new people that come on constantly onto these shows. I'll tell you a little, when folks come to these types of programs, many times they want to know, wait a minute, but who the hell is this guy? Why is he, how did he come about doing these things? I want to tell you a little quick story, and then I'll move on back into the program. And this is going to be a quick 2-minute story. I am by training, I came to the United States in 1979. I'm a mechanical engineer. I went to the University of Texas, became a mechanical engineer, worked for corporate America, meaning I worked for Daniel Industries, NASA. I worked for Lockheed. I worked for Ford Aerospace, several different companies writing software. I did all of that in 5 years, and then I formed my own company, own software company, developed a system for a Chinese company, login system, and then went solo with a couple other partners, and then went solo and formed a software company. And when I did that software company, I sold communication software that allowed computers to talk to rigs, computers to talk to valves, and all that kind of stuff, remote access, all that good stuff I wrote. All of that was with these hands. That's the reason why you don't see me have a whole lot of, I don't have a lot of good feelings for guys like Bezos and all of that, because there's nothing wrong with retail, and there's nothing wrong with retailing somebody else's products. I write software that runs on other people's products. So I don't have a problem with those things. But Bezos didn't create anything. I created software that did something. And as soon as my daughter left for college, it gave, because we are in a very conservative town, I didn't want to do this kind of stuff. I was always politically active, but not this active. Didn't want to do this kind of thing while she was in school, so that there wouldn't be any pushback on her. But when she left, it was game on. And over time, I eventually went ahead and said, you know what? Somebody needs to be out there fighting the system. And it was during the Obama years. And in 2010, I wrote the book, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. Eventually, I realized you couldn't serve several masters at the same time, meaning I had to choose between political activism and my company. And I thought that things were going bad enough. The company was doing very well, by the way, but things where they are. Maybe it is time to stop just talking the talk and start walking the walk. So the one thing I did is reduce expenses to the minimum and decided to become a full-time activist. And I remember saying to several people, I am going to prove that you can be an activist and still survive, because people will support those who throw the ball into the ring. People will support those who say, you know what? I don't have to be rich. I don't have to bust my butt writing software and living that great life when others are not. I mean, is there any fun really in you being up there looking down at everybody else? I didn't grow up that way. You know, I didn't grow up that way. I couldn't, I just couldn't do that. So when it was time to say, put your money where your mouth is, it wasn't hard to do. And that's what I did. I decided to go reduce expenses and decided to do this. We have a lot of people doing that now. A lot of people are realizing that it is that for us to really make that change, the other side have the Koch brothers and a bunch of rich people to support them, right? They don't have to have people making the type of sacrifice myself and many others have decided to make for the program. When I go into Houston and we're doing our protests, I can look at all those activists out there and watch all that these different people have given up, from Wall Street guys to doctors to lawyers that are no longer doctors, that are no longer lawyers, that are no longer engineers, but are out there all of the time saying, we are going to make the change. I've met too many of them. Move to Amend has several of them. I was a board member of Move to Amend. Several people that just gave up everything and said, you know what, we're going out there and we're going to make the change. And I remember coming home one time and saying, you know what, one of these days, I want to be able to do that. I'm going to have to do that. And I realized that to do that, you just have to do it. In other words, you just have to go out there and do it. And the reason you have to go out there and do it is because there is never that real appropriate time. The one appropriate time for me was not doing harm to my daughter in the community, in this conservative community. That was the one thing that I put above the most, and that I didn't want to do something that would affect the rest of her life by having problems in this community. But after she left, that is when it was done. Folks, there are a lot of us out there. We are not asking everybody out there to do the same thing. Not everybody either has the stomach to do it, the will to do it, or not everybody are in the positions to do it. Those who can, do it. I did it. What I'm asking of you guys is, look, patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Support the project. Let folks know that we can go ahead and do this thing. You should have seen us at Netroots Nation. Check out all those Houstonians who went. I spoke to the mayor. Actually, you know what? I should. That's what I'm going to do. I forgot about that. I do have a clip of the mayor. Let me go ahead and play the interview with the mayor that I had out there as well. Let's see if I can find the mayor. Where is Mayor Anise Parker? Where is Anise? Anise, where are you, Anise? I'll play that, and then I'll go back and start answering any phones that may come in. But I did have Anise Parker here somewhere. I don't see Anise Parker. I thought I would be able to show you Anise Parker, but I'm in the wrong subdirectory. I think I know where it's at. But I want to show you, we were just able to do so much because of you. And when I say because of you, that's what I mean. You invested, those of you who've invested thus far, we were able to get some new mics and so forth so that we could have a successful run. And let's see, I'm coming close to it, I believe. That's one thing when you're doing these things on the fly. Netroots raw videos, there we go. And let's go and expand those things so I can see the pictures. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the mayor for you. And I think I have her coming. Come on, mayor, where are you? Where is the mayor? It's somewhere here, let's see. But anyhow, you know that we went out there and we did what we had to do and we got it done. Let's see if I can find that. I want to do a scan here. Maybe if say mayor. I'll find it. There we go. Mayor of Houston. There we go. What I'm going to do is let you watch this one here that I did with her. Here we go. I think I may have to do that. And here you go. Watch the mayor. This is Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, and we are back. Guess who I ran into? The former Houston City Mayor, Anise Parker. Anise, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's so good to be with you. And you shouted at me across the exhibit hall, and I came right over. It's good to see a friend here.
Yes, you know what? It's always great to see you. You know, I'm going to kind of get you a little bit, you know how it's like, I'm so sorry she's not running, but, you know, I had to bring that up to my audience because my audience. You should turn the phone of the former, or the stuff of the former mayor on, right, Mayor?
Absolutely. Do we have to start again? Or?
No, we don't have to start again because we're actually live and on tape.
Okay.
But here it is.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to ever run again. I wasn't in the right place to run this year, but I'm still involved in politics. I am the president and CEO of the LGBTQ Victory Fund. Washington-based organization, 27 years old, focused on getting LGBT candidates elected at every level of government. We're the only organization in our space. I'm working with amazing, wonderful candidates, doing, pushing progressive values all across the country, and I get to work with them and not have to run myself this year.
Well, I heard you've been traveling around all over the place. Where have you been so far?
Well, the Victory Fund is based in D.C.,
right,
but I spend about a third of my time in Houston. I'm still living in Houston, so I commute to D.C. about a third of the time, and then I'm in cities everywhere. I'm spending a lot of time in mid-sized markets. I've been in Little Rock and Columbus and Milwaukee and Madison, but slightly bigger places too, Denver and Kansas City. There's some great candidates running. This is a wave election, and we're Democrats. I'm not saying that it's a blue wave, but it's a wave of people who want change and who are getting involved in politics for the first time. And a lot of these candidates are first-time candidates. They're exciting to watch. They need a little help, I will say, because it's not always intuitive how to run a winning campaign.
Well, you know how to do that, and you know how to do that in the South. Imagine that. You know how to do it well. So I hope to see you not only in local politics, but more than likely national politics as we go forward. Now, you've been out now 2 years, I guess?
2.5.
2.5 years. That time kind of really flew by, didn't it?
It did. I had about 6 months where I did a fellowship at Harvard. I piddled around for a while. Then I was a senior executive at Baker Ripley, used to be Neighborhood Centers in Houston, really large nonprofit, works with immigrants and refugees.
Right.
Great organization. I spent a year there. It really ended after Harvey. We were asked to stand up one of the 2 evacuation shelters.
Right.
So my colleague Claudia Vasquez, the other executive VP, and I were really the day-to-day managers of the NRG shelter for nearly 30 days, spending 18 hours a day at an evacuation shelter for nearly a month. That kind of transformed my thinking about what I wanted to do this year, that I could get involved and do work as an individual and make change. And I think being in office is a great thing to be able to make change.
Right.
Or I could work with multiple candidates to make change across the country, and that's what I decided to do.
Well, you know, you did the first part, now we're waiting on the second part. Former mayor of Houston, Texas, thank you so kindly for stopping by and spending some time with me. It's a pleasure always speaking to you.
Love KPFT. They've gotten my dollars over the years.
Great.
Give money to KPFT.
Oh, is she great or what? Thank you so kindly, Mayor. You have a great day.
You too.
Hey, Facebook Live. Okay, so that was the mayor, and so I mean, we had a great time out there. I like I said, I did over 40 something interviews with a whole lot of good people, both politicians, activists, policymakers, you name it, including folks that were talking about the basic income, Social Security, the whole works. So, you know, things got very well covered, and I'm breaking all of that down and writing a blog for all these different interviews that we did out there. So it's a lot of work. I mean, like, you know, you can imagine how much work it is going to be to process 43 or 44. Or actually, I think it's closer to 50 videos that I have to go ahead and process for the event that we have here. So I'm going to be in video land for the next few. So like I said, there's some of us that went out there and we said that we were going to go out there and make a difference. So I ask you to go ahead and give us the support at patreon.com/politics done right. Again, that is patreon.com/politics done right. Folks, you can give us a call. Remember, this is a call-in show. You can give us a call at 646-716-5812. Again, that number is 646-716-5812. Do you have any questions? Do you have any concerns? Do you want to find out about something? Just let us know that we're here. Now, I don't know, for those of you who are just coming back, go ahead and read the blog of the week. I think it's a very important blog of the week, because what we try to point out there is that while many sit down and think, oh, we hate Fox News or we hate just the standard right-wing radio, what is really happening in America is deeper than that. People think Fox News is a genesis of all this evil. Fox News is just sort of a display of what's really happening underneath. You don't get those changes from people who don't watch Fox News, and most of the young people don't sit down and watch Fox News. They get their information elsewhere. There are invested entities right now that are doing it is evident that they're doing psychological profiling on folk and sending them appropriate type of literature, whether we're talking about memes, whether we're talking about direct email, whether we're talking about all these sorts of things are really occurring, folks. And it is something that we really have to watch. It is something that if we continue to, first of all, preach to the choir, if we continue to believe that somehow, this is just a Fox News thing, then we would have fooled ourselves. Then we would have sat there and believed that the things that are happening are pretty much different from what's occurring. So I'm asking you to go ahead, folks, and talk to people. There are those who continue to make the comments and say things like, well, you know, it doesn't make any sense to talk to them because they are immutable. They can't change. They're just one way. It is impossible. If you believe that, might as well give up on the country. If you really believe that, might as well give up on what's going to be your ability to succeed in the country. Because nobody is an island. No group is an island. And I'm going to say this, and some people get upset, but our success also depends on the success of just about everybody. It is the pitting against each other that has screwed us all. And it's only getting together. It's only working together. Apalache, the ghettos, and the barrios. It's only doing that that's going to really make the difference. For those who hear me say that all the time, I'm sorry that I repeat myself, but it is essential. It is essential that we understand that. Nobody's an island, and we are not going to succeed unless most succeed. And what I mean, that includes those on the right. That includes everybody. Now, again, that doesn't have to change your bona fides. I mean, yo soy izquierdista. I'm a leftist all the way. Believe in the commons. I believe in Medicare for all. They call it socialized medicine. I don't care what the hell they want to call it. I believe in a public banking system like we have in, I think it's South Dakota, or one of the Dakotas, or one of those areas out there. So, doesn't take away my beliefs that I want to work with folk. And that is what we have to get in our heads. That is what we have to get in our heads. They've been teaching us that we should just go at each other's throats. I'm not going at anybody's throat. And I'm not going on the throats of the folks at the left or the right. Now, maybe at the puppeteers, yeah. Nobody else. Everybody else is my friend. I consider everybody else my friend. Folks, we're getting close to the end of the program, and I'm going to make the one last ask and then close us down. Please remember, this is a progressive program. Please go ahead and visit patreon.com, patreon.com/politics done right. And please provide support. Become a member. Please subscribe. That is how we are going to make it. That is how we will succeed. That is how we will make it over the top. And thank you so kindly for those who have been listening. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you all know how I end this show, and it goes like this. I am out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
1, 2, 3, 4.